Hello, everyone, and welcome to Corn is Amazing. My name is Jessica Gale, and my partners for this project were Melissa Griffiths and Marissa Ford, and we will be talking to you about corn. Do you know a lot about corn? Let's see if you can answer these 4 questions. Question number 1 is, what is the one benefit of eating corn? 2, true or false, corn is naturally gluten-free. 3, how long can you store corn in the refrigerator? And 4, what vitamins and minerals are found in corn? A, B vitamins, B folate, C iron, D all of the above. These questions should be answered throughout the presentation.
So I'm going to be talking about the nutrition and health and financial benefits of using corn. Before I go into detail about that, I wanted to share a couple facts to help us better understand corn and its many uses. Corn is also known as maize, which means the giver of life in the native language Taino, which is funny because, as we are about to discuss and you'll see, corn's many uses help to minimize world food hunger. So the United States leads the world in per capita corn consumption. I only say that to show how widely available and therefore very affordable it is for consumers. Corn can be modified into liquid or dry form for industrial or dietary usage. We'll discuss mostly the dietary sides. So some of the modification examples that we consume consume corn is cornstarch, corn oil, corn syrup, high fructose corn syrup, and lastly, it can be refined as dextrose. Some examples of ways that we consume those items are potato chips, mayonnaise, other dressings, tobacco products, wine, yeast, sweets, and the dextrose used to sweeten foods like ice cream, beverages, and baby foods. So the most nutritionally beneficial way to consume corn, though, is in its non-modified state, which is raw and uncooked, and a little less or so cooked. Because corn is widely available, it makes it very affordable for consumers, and its many uses help minimize food insecurity. Corn is also naturally gluten-free and contains many nutritional and physiological health benefits. So as we begin to talk about the nutrition and health benefits of corn, I want to start by saying that the serving size I will refer to, one serving, is roughly 3.5 ounces of corn or 2 pieces of sweet corn on the cob. So corn is high in insoluble fiber, aiding digestion and slowing the blood sugar response. One serving of corn has roughly 19 grams of carbohydrates, 2 to 3 grams of that being fiber, and 3 to 4 grams of that being protein. It is a low-fat, virtually none food. It is high in vitamins B5, B12, B6, folate, and iron, but that is all variable depending on the corn type. The high folate and iron content makes it greatly beneficial during pregnancy for both the baby and the mom, as well as the iron content helps reduce the risk of anemia. It is high in minerals, magnesium, copper, potassium, zinc, manganese, and more. All great for essential bodily functions, including the great source of antioxidants, ferulic acid, lutein, phytic acid, and more, which can help vitamin and mineral absorption, and it's also good for sight. It's composed primarily of complex carbs, so it's a great source of energy. Popcorn is actually one of the most common whole grain foods in the US, and whole grains can reduce the risk of heart disease and type 2 diabetes. Popcorn, obviously, we're referring to air popped, no butter, no oil, no salt added. And then 1/4 of the carbs actually come from sugar, but corn is not high on the glycemic index, meaning it will not quickly raise or spike your blood sugar. So as I stated, corn is widely available not only in the United States, but throughout the whole world, and it makes it very affordable for that reason. Fresh corn on the cob costs roughly $3 to $4 for 8 to 10 ears of corn, depending on where you purchase it. In contrast, if you decide to grow your own sweet corn in a garden box, it can be as cheap as $20 for supplies for the entire season. Canned corn is obviously usually cheaper and more often donated to food banks and can be used in place of corn on the cob for recipes, though its nutritional content is slightly lower due to the processing and packaging. So fresh, sweet corn on the cob is the best way to go. So here's just a review of all of the points that we touched on for corn's financial, nutritional, and health benefits. I do want to note that if you are not consuming corn in its unmodified state, if you're consuming it as high fructose corn syrup, cornstarch, etc., it does obviously lower the nutritional content. So the best way, I want to reiterate, the best way to consume it is raw and uncooked.
Hello everyone, my name is Jessica and I'm going to be talking about how to prepare the corn. The first step is cleaning the corn. So the picture on the left shows what the corn should look like when picked up from the food pantry. The first step will be pulling the outer leaves off. Then from the tassel, which is at the top of the corn or the brown white looking bit, pull down firmly to take off. The picture on the right shows what that should look like. After all is removed, break off the stem at the bottom and then wash off excess silk that is stuck in the kernels. Now that the corn is fully peeled, we are going to cook it. So you're first going to start by placing all the corn in a huge pot. Then you are going to fill the pot with water and make sure that the corn is fully submerged and bring the water to a boil. Once the water is at a boil, you will turn off the stove and cover for 20 minutes. At the end of the 20 minutes, the corn should be ready to use, and you can use that for a recipe, or you can store it or eat it right away. After you have cooked the corn, you may want to cut it. So what you're going to do is you're going to take a large bowl and put a smaller bowl upside down in that. You're going to take the flatter side of the corn and you're going to set that down on that small bowl that is inside the large bowl. Then you will take a knife and you will cut down on the cob. If you do not have bowls or you do not like this method, you can also just have the corn on a flat surface and just cut straight down and take off the kernels. So for storing the corn, you can either do it while it's on the cob or you can do it while it's cut up. So when it's on the cob, you just put it into a Ziploc baggie, take out all the air when you zip it up, and make sure that you date and put what the food is so you know when it goes bad in your freezer. On the right side, you would just take the corn that you cut and you would do the same thing by putting the date and cooked corn on it. If you are not using the corn right away, you can store it by leaving it in the husks, and then you can just wrap in a loose plastic bag and you can just store either on your counter or in the refrigerator.
Hi everyone, I am Marissa Ford and I am a nutrition and dietetic graduate student at Eastern Illinois University, and I am going to be telling you a couple recipes on how you can incorporate fresh corn into meals or sides. And since it is the holiday season and Thanksgiving's just around the corner, I thought I would just do a couple recipes of what you could serve at your Thanksgiving with your families. The first recipe that I have here is a corn salad, and this one is very easy to make, and you can use any kind of vegetables or seasonings that you want for this salad. It's kind of just your own choice. And what you'll need is 2 cups of fresh corn that is already cooked, and then 1 cup of cherry tomatoes sliced to your choosing. If you like big slices of tomatoes, that's fine. If you like small, that's fine. Just sliced however you want. and then 1 can of black beans, and you want to make sure that you rinse and drain that can of black beans, and then 1/2 cup of red onions sliced to your liking, and then 3 tablespoons of olive oil or any type of oil of your choice that you want to use. And then just to season it and give it a little bit of flavor, you'll want to add salt, pepper, and lime juice, and then any other sort of seasoning. And I usually use chili powder just to give it a little bit of spice, but like I said, you can use any sort of seasoning that you want. So the directions are pretty easy for this salad. After you do all the cutting and slicing and rinsing of the black beans, you are wanting to just dump all of that into about a medium-sized bowl, and you're just going to mix it all together. And once you add your seasonings and it tastes the way you want it to, you'll want to cover it with saran wrap and refrigerate it for about an hour or so before serving it. You can serve it at room temperature if you want. It's really just based upon how you like it. So the picture on the left-hand side is the final product of the corn salad, and on the right-hand side is a YouTube link that you can click on, and that actually shows you a little bit more in detail these steps that I had to use to follow this recipe that I talked about in the previous slide. And we will also be posting this link in the description box as well. The next recipe I have for you is corn casserole, and this one is a very good side dish for your Thanksgiving meal. I know that my family and I have used this recipe for over 10 years, and it's very delicious. So the ingredients you'll need is a 1/2 cup of butter at room temperature. The reason why you want to have butter at room temperature because it's so much easier to mix. Then you'll need 1 cup of fresh corn and 1 can of cream style corn, 1 8-ounce container of sour cream, and 1 8-ounce box of corn muffin mix, and then also cooking spray of your choice, doesn't matter what kind. That's just going to be to grease the baking pan that you'll be baking your corn casserole in so it doesn't get all sticky and stuck to the pan. So for this one, the directions are pretty simple. You're going to just dump all those ingredients into a large mixing bowl, doesn't matter what order you do it, and you're going to stir it with, I have found out that using a fork is so much easier because it kind of helps get that butter all smushed and evenly spread throughout the batter. Now the batter will be lumpy whenever you are done because of the chunks of corn, but it should be for the most part very well mixed. And then you're going to spray the bottom of a large baking dish, and then you're going to pour your batter in there. You're going to place in the oven at 350 degrees, and you're going to bake it for 40 to 45 minutes or until golden brown. Another idea would be to stick a fork right in the middle of that casserole, and if you pull it out and there is no more batter on the fork, that means that it is also done. I highly recommend you let it sit for 10 minutes to cool before serving. And again, the picture on the left-hand side is the final product of the corn casserole. And as you can see, it is golden brown on the outside, which is what your goal is when taking your corn casserole out of the oven. You want to look for that golden brown color. Another YouTube video is on the right-hand side, also showing you step-by-step how I made this corn casserole, a little bit more in detail, and we'll also be posting that link in the description box as well.
Here are some resources from the presentation.